In the last one, we saw the 12 houses of the sun, 1 to 12, and how each zodiac sign that occupies that particular house will color the soul path in this life. Now, if you're a sensitive, a light worker, an empath, a healer, or one of these awakening souls on the planet, you will find that certain themes of life are recurring in your life. Certain energies you take to approach certain kind of subjects or certain kind of areas of your life, be it siblings, work, relationships, what you want to have interest in, what drives you and what does not drive you, right? You might have noticed that already. So what this gives us and what this one will be about is investigating the colors. The zodiac signs themselves lend a color to the action we will take or not take in this life. It will play out as a theme in your particular area of life. So this is important to understand before we go further into this. The soul is an abstract concept. Where will you go hunting for your soul? Stop chasing your own tail. It doesn't work that way. You are not here to discover what your soul is. It's impossible to dissect that with your mind. The best we can do is attempt by the tools of Vedic astrology is to understand who you are in the first place, what drives you, and why does it happen that way? Why do things work out the way in my life that they do? Who am I and why am I like this? Or why do I like certain things and why do I don't like certain things? First begin, I suggest, with that kind of an investigation. Do not go hunting around for your own tail. Otherwise, you'll be a dog running around trying to catch its own tail. Yes? Like the famous oracle says to Neo in the movie The Matrix, Neo, you have already made a choice. It's not the question of choice. You have already made the choice to be here. You have just come to understand why you have made that choice. Your soul is something like that. It is already here. It is already in some body and gender. It is already in some society, family, and everything else, all the rest of it that you have on your plate. Now you have come to understand why you have made this choice and to have that meal and enjoy it. So this whole exercise and this whole channel really is about investigating why you are here and what you can do best about it, rather than going into some abstract ideas and abstractions of life which doesn't serve you in the practical life. So let's begin. First, let us talk about Dharma, the 3 fires. That is number 1, number 5, and number 9. Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. These are the 3 fires of Dharma. Dharma, in the context and as dictated by Vedic astrology, has nothing to do with following the right thing or doing the right thing or none of that nonsense. Everybody is doing the right thing. Everybody is following Dharma at any time. You don't have a choice. You're just here to understand what choices your soul is making. So in the Dharma signs, Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius, which is all about fire. Now, what do we mean by fire element here? The element of fire in its form is transformative. Let's just see what the fire means. Fire is transformative. You burn anything, it transforms from one chemical to another form. It is transformative in form. It is transformative in the way it addresses anything in your life. Okay, so wherever the zodiac signs of Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius fall in your chart, it will fall in every chart in one or the other house. It will fall in 3 houses. House we shall see aspects later on, but we are just talking about the color that your life is taking on as a soul. So in fire signs, those areas of your life, you will look at it with a transformative ability. You will look at it as, I want to change this from one form to another form, because fire is just transformative. You put wood in the fire, it combusts it and brings it to something else, changing one form to something else in its purest form. That's what fire signs do. In Aries, that plays out like individual fire, the drive to be individualistic. Aries wants to go out there and move. The quality is Rajas, movable, and male. So this is a sign that never sits still. Okay, another thing you observe there is all these three fire signs are male in nature. What does it mean by saying male in nature? It's not a gender we are talking about, it's the drive to go outward. The male goes always outward to achieve something. They are outwardly driven areas of your life. These are areas of your life. They can come in any house. So wherever these number 1, 5 and 9 are happening in your chart, it means that that area of life is filled with a fiery energy. Okay. So first one, Aries will be the initiator, the Rajas factor, the guy who moves stuff, and he is himself movable and male. So these people are initiators of stuff. This is why Aries is called as the one who initiates stuff, not necessarily maintaining or seeing it to conclusion, but it will move, and it will move very fast. And that's why the sign lord is Mars. Mars is like the soldier who wants to move and get stuff done. Okay. In number 5, it becomes creative. It becomes sattva, fixed and male. Meaning what? Sattva in this context means it is going to the essence. You are trying to get from your soul, which is wanting a fixed posture and addressing everything outward. This is why Leos can become good leaders, because they take their fixed standpoint, whatever they believe and don't believe, and are bringing it outward to the world. This is why it can be very creative, because creativity requires bringing stuff out, which is your originality, into the external world. It's a male sign. And it is driven by the sun. Sun is significator of your soul in Vedic astrology. In number 9, in Sagittarius, it becomes purifying fire, the sacrificial fire, the one which we use in yajnas, the ones which we use in ceremonies. That kind of fire is Sagittarius. It has also got the energy of sattva, but it is dual sign. Dual sign literally means dealing in duality. I mean, it is shifting from one thing to another. It is like the balancing of scales, so to speak. It's not Libra, but it is going in two directions. These are the kind of people who will say, never agree with one point of view. They will say, but what about this? But what about that? But what about this? This is the energy Sagittarius provides. It wants to distill the essence of something because it's going towards sattva, and it is ruled by Jupiter, who is the provider of wisdom and knowledge. So in this transformative fire, Jupiter wants to distill all kinds of energies and bring it to their conceptual form. That's the 3 fires. The 3 earths, on the other hand, are number 2, number 6, and number 10. These are the Artha signs, meaning the means to accomplish something is Artha. So wherever Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn fall in your chart, it will color them with an earthiness to it. Wanting to do things physically, wanting to have materialistic gains, wanting to get stuff like money, like land, like real estate, like, earthly things. In Taurus, it has a sensuality towards it. It is Rajas, fixed, and a female sign. You'll notice that all the Artha signs are female in quality. This is why Shakti, or the female principle of existence, looks for and wants everything in the physical form. This is why women who are embodied in a soul which is embodied in a female body also looks for physical stuff. They are all about creation and maintaining the creation. The entire creation is driven by Shakti, the mother, divine mother principle. So in Taurus, it becomes sensual and rajasic, meaning what these people, Taurus in this particular sign, wherever it colors in your chart, that area of your life will have the Taurus signature, meaning you will want to accomplish material, sensational, desiring stuff. You might want more money, you might want a good-looking spouse, or you might want vehicles and cars, you might want bungalows, you might want businesses in certain areas, because Artha is all about earthly stuff. In Virgo, it gets creative earth, which is tamas and dual. So Virgo also always kind of tends to shift Do I want this or do I want that? Do I want more money or do I want a better life in terms of having a better house? Which one is more priority of mine? This is what the female principle internally searches in Virgo, wherever Virgo is falling in your chart. And it is ruled by Mercury. See the sign lords everywhere. Venus is all about sensuality. Mercury is all about mental. So Virgo people become very mentally creative in that particular area of your chart. Virgo falls in every chart, in every one of the ascendants. It falls in a particular house, which we will see later on. But let's just focus on the energies of all the four here. In Capricorn, it becomes structural earth. So it is tamas, movable and female. Again, tamas here again means that it wants grounding. It wants to feel the earthly stuff. That's what your soul has come to accomplish. Wherever Capricorn is falling in your chart, you are there to achieve something, but in a movable way. Means you are constantly shifting your goals of that particular area of your life to get something else. So you are shifting your earthly targets, so to speak. And it is ruled by Saturn. Saturn is a person who wants earthly stuff to materialize. Now, speaking of the three airs in our charts, these three zodiac signs will color the mental desiring ability of yours. What is it that you desire really? Kama is all about desire, because these three airs are about Kama. Kama is meaning of mentalized desire. What do I really want? You say, oh God, I want that particular thing, or I want that particular woman or a man, or that car, or that house, or that job, or that position, or anything. That feeling is Kama. Okay? So in number 3, in Gemini, it enters as the breeze, the soft moving breeze. The first two, as you can see, are male. The last one is female. So let's analyze this. Rajas, dual and male. So Gemini is the dual factor which plays in the air signs. So Gemini people are always moving around. Do I want this or do I want that? What would I like more? Evaluating the desire. Okay, they're not necessarily interested in grounding that area of life, but they want to see and examine each one. Rajas is a very movable energy. It's ruled by Mercury, so it's all about mental stuff. Even the sign lord itself says a lot of things here. Gemini is ruled by Mercury. The next one, Libra, air as the wind. It blows much faster. So Libra has got a very wild changing energy to it. Think of it like a storm, okay? Because it's Rajas, movable and male. So Libra moves a lot of energy. Wind moves a lot of energy. Wind is not still, and it is very Rajasic as well. But its sign lord is Venus, meaning it is all about desire. And Libra being the scales, it is all about going outward and finding stuff, something to relate to. Libra is wanting to relate to and balance the scales or something. That's why it is ruled by Venus here, because it is taking the highest of the desiring factor. The human desire is dictated by Libra. We are all about here in this earth plane to relate to one another in some form or the other. In some form, not just of romance or romantic relationships. I'm talking about all kinds of relationships. Libra is all about the collective as well. How you relate to the other person. In Aquarius, it stands still. The air does not move. You know, when you go out in the morning and you see air is not moving, air is very still. That's the tamas fixed and female principle in Aquarius. It's also Kama, but Aquarius wants to go deep within the mental desire. Where is the root of the desire originating? I want to figure that out. So here it becomes very, very conceptual in form in Aquarius. That's why Aquarius people are difficult to figure out. They become very, very secretive. They have gone inward to find something. Just like Scorpio, we shall see in the next one, water. The water becomes still. So Rahu Ketu nodes also fall in Aquarius and in Scorpio, right? So we shall see examining the three waters The 4, 8 and 12, the moksha houses. This moksha is not the great liberation thing which everybody is going around in lightworker circles touting around, I need liberation from this birth and death. We are not talking about that kind of moksha. Moksha in the context of Vedic astrology only means it is finally landing in emotion. Whatever you started initiating, whatever earthly stuff you want to get, whatever your mental desires are, the first 3 which we saw, is finally landing as an emotional quality. Finally, that's all. Your end result of getting anything is to derive a particular emotion. That's moksha. Number 4, in Cancer, it becomes flowing water. Again, observe the pattern here. Quality of all 3 is female. The moksha houses are all about female. The female principle or the feminine principle of existence wants to translate everything finally to an emotion. The signs in Cancer, it becomes a flowing water. It becomes sattva, movable and female. This is where the energy moves a lot. So wherever Cancer is kind of, for example, appearing in your chart, in whichever house, that area of the life becomes very movable. You might keep changing jobs, you might keep changing your relationships, you might keep changing one thing or the other, depending upon which area of life this is appearing in. And it's ruled by moon, which is also constantly changing phases. In number 8, Scorpio, it becomes still water. It becomes tamas, fixed and female. Now that's why Scorpio becomes a very intense sign. First of all, female principle itself is internal, and this has gone into tamas. So it wants to ground and it wants to find what that principle is which drives them. So again, Scorpio, that's why it becomes a very introverted, very internally driven. They are seeking that emotional depth which they need to find there. That's why it's ruled by Mars and Ketu, although being a water sign. So it's seeking the deepest of intense emotions internally. This is what makes them introverted. In Pisces, it goes and dissolves in the ocean. Finally, the meeting point of all rivers, so to speak. It is sattva, dual and female. So in the highest of moksha signs, sattva becomes the highest principle of emotion derived. It becomes more of a devotional thing. You have kind of merged your emotion with emotion of everyone else. So wherever Pisces is falling in your chart, whichever house it is falling in, this energy of Pisces will color that area of your life. It is ruled by Jupiter. Jupiter is providing knowledge and wisdom. You might think, what is it doing in a female sign and what is it doing to dissolve something? Only when some concept which has been actualized now becomes transcendental into its conceptual form, sattvic form, and only if you examine all sides of the equation in an internal way, I'm just translating sattva, dual and female there, only then that Jupiter becomes exalted in Pisces. Okay, this is the meaning of each one of these elements. We have to think in terms of elements and in terms of sign lord and what the quality of it is and what the drive is in each one of these: air, fire, water, earth, etc. So I'll leave you with this much. Tomorrow we shall address the next chapter, going deeper dive into things. Take care, be safe.